Hi. Hey everyone, Melissa here. It is nighttime here, and I had to change my shirt. I had this stain. I dropped ketchup on my shirt. I am like a really big slob sometimes when I eat. So I'm just gonna share something. So basically, I'm getting distracted with my hair. I basically just finished a class about trauma around abortion, right? So, I just finished this, and tonight was another doozy. It was another hard night, but good in a good way. So, I saw this girl online. I'm with 200, and in an intimate class here, I'm with about 6 other girls, and just to see a young girl say, I cannot forgive myself, just broke my heart tonight. It's like, why would you not forgive yourself? You know, we have such a gracious God. So gracious. When we hold on to unforgiveness, they say it's like when you don't forgive someone, it's like you are taking that poison that you want someone else to have and you're drinking it. It is so destructive when you do not forgive other people, right? It's a pain that you're holding on to. People have pain and they tell themselves over and over what that pain is rather than forgiving themselves and others. So, for me, the abortion was not my fault, but what I did do was I went through tonight thinking about how I kicked myself in the butt and did not forgive myself for um, for having sex with my boyfriend when I felt like I should have been able to handle that. So basically, I shared this already. He had a condom, and I had basically broke up with him. My mind was made up. I broke up with him. Pretty clear. I didn't have help in, as a teen, 15, dating. I didn't have help with my relationships with boys, right? So, I was pretty confident that I had liked another guy. This guy I was dating for about a year, and another guy liked me, and he had a strong desire for me, and he was cool. And my first boyfriend and I worked in a restaurant with my friends, and we were all cool, and I outgrew my first boyfriend. Some of my friends were like, Melissa, he's kind of geeky, and I really, just, after a year, I was like, yeah, I just outgrew this person, right? So I was at the beach with him up at Weirs Beach in Laconia, and I was just going to break up with him, right? I was going to be honest and break up with him. So I broke up with him, and I wasn't with anyone else, but I broke up with him, and I couldn't deal with him crying. He was crying, and I didn't expect it. I didn't think that would happen. I just thought we would break up and that would be it, right? That he would understand that I just wanted to break up and the end. Well, he started crying, and I had never seen a guy cry except once. My father cried. My Uncle Donnie had died. He had diabetes, and he was my father's brother. And he had died, and I remember too, I was a little girl, and we were told to give Donnie a hug and say goodbye when we were leaving, and no idea that he was actually dying, right? Nobody told us he was dying. I just happened to hear on the phone that he had died, and I saw my father crying. And when I saw my father crying, that was really hurtful to me because my dad was my hero when I was a little girl, right? He was a big, tough guy, construction worker. I felt like he was the strongest man in the world. And then when I saw him cry, it hurt me, and my mother was trying to make him, she was trying to comfort him and trying to make him feel better. So anyways, that's the only, I didn't have a close relationship with my dad, and it was just the only, time I saw a man cry. So when I saw my boyfriend crying, I didn't know what to do, right? And my natural reaction, I think a lot like we absorb a lot from our mothers. Mothers are training their daughters all the time. The daughters are watching you. They're watching their grandmothers. They're watching their aunts. And so I comforted him, right? And so when I did, he really wanted to stay together. So I second guessed myself. And I was like, okay, he's crying and I'm being mean. And, I felt really bad that I made a guy cry. I felt like a real mean girl to make him cry. And I wasn't even trying to be mean. So I had compromised what I thought was best. So, you just have kind of like you're going your way and you're just like, okay, I'm just going to, be honest and tell him. And then you get, you kind of get broken. You're seeing the guy cry and you feel bad. So I think for me, I was just like, I second guessed myself. And that was okay for me to second guess myself because I wasn't going, I was a nice girl. I wasn't going to be mean. But I think where I actually felt like it was my responsibility to make him happy and to make him feel better, I went so far as to have sex with him after, this is where I kicked myself, after I questioned myself about the condoms, right? Because in school we're taught condoms are safe. They're completely safe if you're going to have sex. We were already having sex. So I kicked myself right there because I had questioned the condoms and there was already a bunch of emotional stuff with him crying, right? So I already went through that, and then I questioned the condoms, and 2 or 3 times, and I'm not going to say I was coerced, but he was pretty convincing that, he was convincing that the condoms were safe and he had just brought them and, whatever, and then I think he had lied too. I think he told me after that one of them was actually his cousin's, Jason. I think that's what happened, and that's what I got mad about too, because he got what he wanted by kind of lying and tricking me. So that's where I kicked myself. But when I think about it now, I'm like, you didn't know, you didn't have the tools to deal with a guy who is trying to, coerce you and get what he wants. So after that happened, I kind of went down, and questioned myself, and then I trusted him. I was willing to risk it. I was willing to give him trust. And then when he broke my trust, I was like, that's it, bring me home. I was only 16. I'm like, bring me home, we're done. And that's when the walls went up, right? The walls of trusting someone and then feeling like, oh, I should have never ever trusted you. So going through that tonight and being like, why did I beat myself up about that for so long? And I think my filter growing up was, you can't make mistakes. You have a good head on your shoulders and you cannot make mistakes. So I think that where I felt like I compromised a little bit on my judgment is where I kicked myself. But yet, he was also older and he lied to me, and I didn't know how to deal with a guy who, was crying, and a guy who lied to me and tricked me. And so I could say I wasn't strong enough, but I don't know that would be true. I think it would just be I was not equipped to handle that kind of situation with a guy doing that to me at such a young age. So that has been released, that I was holding on to that. And after putting those walls up and being like, geez, I'll never trust, him again, and I'm going to protect myself and I'm going to keep my walls up. I think that is definitely where, it was easy to fall prey to abortion, because you're upset. So I don't even know that I would call it forgiving myself, but understanding myself some more, and even understanding not me so much, but that girl. So tonight we talked about forgiving the girl inside you. And, that was so long ago. I mean, I'm not even the same person or anything, but to release that and to understand it and be like, yeah, you were tricked, and, I mean, you were a kid. So I think that that grace has been very good for me tonight. And to see another young girl to say, I can't forgive myself, it just breaks my heart. Like, why would you put yourself through that torture? So tonight's class was very good, very productive. And as you get, past these classes, you're just like, wow, you dive in and you feel 100% better. So for any woman who's gone through this stuff, you've gone through being, tricked, coerced, whatever, into abortion, get the healing. And I thought, I kind of wish I would have had the healing before, but, it's God's divine timing. I was thinking about this today. I was like, wait a minute, could I have gotten the help for this years ago? No, nobody was talking about it. Nobody. There would have been like probably more shame years ago than anything, right? So I'm like, okay, could I have gotten the help when I had my last born son? Could I have gotten this kind of help then? And I'm like, nope, you had to have a good foundation. I had a Grace for the Wounded group, which was great. I had 2 post-abortive classes, which helped before I went through this class. So it's all in God's timing when He chooses to lift you up and heal you, and when He, has chosen to say, you're going to have to deal with this in this way now. And luckily for me, I had my kids, and that is where a lot of healing came from, was in actually being a mother, because you're going through it, and you're actually, kids are so wonderful. They love you no matter what. It's unconditional love. And that kind of love is exactly what a mother needs after going through such a horrific experience. So that's what I got for now, guys. And thanks for joining me.